Hello, welcome back in this lecture session. It is the fifth lecture of this series. We have started with the lecture of anisotropic diffusion, but before going to this session, we are looking into some another aspect because anisotropic diffusion for image processing is basically edge preserving as well as segmentation and accessory problems, that is the noise reduction as well as preserving the important structure of the images. So the another important aspect of this is weighted least mean square filtering for images. So today we will discuss in this topic. It is the lecture 5 of this series, image edge preserving filtering. But we will continuously keep on practicing this. Anisotropic diffusion also we will discuss. Now, before going to today's topic, we will discuss a little bit of anisotropic diffusion. What is isotropic diffusion and anisotropic diffusion? In isotropic diffusion, we are considering that whenever a pixel is transforming the information is transformed equally in all direction. Whereas in anisotropic diffusion, whenever there is a change in intensity, it will adaptively diffuse the information. Like where there is less change of information, the diffusion will be more clearer there. But when there is a sharp change, that is to edges will be there, this diffusion process will be decelerating, means it will be reduced. So we are going, today's topic is weighted least mean square. So we are now stopping this criteria of anisotropic diffusion for the next subsequent classes, and we are observing today's class. And so it is edge preserving decomposition for multiscale tone and detail manipulation. It is the paper, very renowned paper of Ziv Fiberman, R. Fettel, D. Linsky, and R. Sezelski. So this paper deals with the edge preserving decomposition for multiscale tone and detail manipulation. Many recent computational photography techniques decompose an image into a piecewise smooth base layer containing large scale variation in intensity and a residual detail layer capturing the smaller scale details in the image. In many of these applications, it is important to control the spatial scale of the extracted details, and it is often desirable to manipulate details at multiple scales while avoiding visual artifacts. In this paper, we introduce a new way to construct edge-preserving multiscale image decomposition. We show that the current detail decomposition technique based on the bilateral filter are limited in their ability to extract detail at arbitrary scale. Instead, we advocate the use of an alternative edge-preserving smoothing operator based on the weighted least square optimization framework, which is particularly well suited for progressing coarsening of images and for multi-scale detail extraction. After describing this operator, we show how to use it to construct edge-preserving multiscale decomposition and compare it to the bilateral filter as well as other schemes. Finally, we decompose the effectiveness of our edge-preserving decomposition in the context of LDR and HDR tone mapping, detail enhancement, and other application. So, in the introduction, it is given that edge-preserving smoothing is recently a very important application area in computer graphics and image processing. And in particular, in computational photography, different base layers and details are there. The works are given there. And in the figure 1, it is shown that a multiscale tone manipulation left is the input image, and the middle is the result of detail boosting at 3 different spatial scale, and the right is the final stage of combining a somewhat milder detail enhancement at all three scales. Now in the figure 2, it is given that artifacts resulting from the edge blurring left and edge sharpening in the right, the original signal is shown in gray. This is the gray is the original signal in both the images, and the coursed signal is blue, and the recombination, the base resulting is with the halo effect, and that is given by the black signal. So we don't want the halo effect, we want to remove this. So this can be done using bilateral filter, but there are a lot of artifacts resulting from those different important state of the art filters. So it is given in the image, it is shown over there. So this is the input image, and this is its visualization by coloring. If it is Gaussian smoothing with a sigma of 4, the output will be like this. If it is Gaussian smoothing of sigma 12, so if the kernel size increasing, it becomes blurred, but the edges become difficult to understand. Using bilateral filter with the standard deviation 4 and with the spatial and the radial, there are two types of standard deviation in case of bilateral filtering. One is the spatial, another is radial. With the combination of 4 and 0.14, the output is showing over there. With the rho s 12 and rho r is equal to 0.15, the output is showing over there. But still there are some artifacts still remaining. Now with bilateral filter, rho s 12 and rho r is equal to 0.3 and rho s 12 and 0.45 showing, but everywhere there is still some artifacts are resulting. But in case of weighted least squares filter with two types, in the weighted least squares filter there are two parameters. One is gradient sensitive, another is gradient sensitive, another is lambda is also another sensitive parameter, that is blurring effect. So the lambda 0.25 with alpha is equal to 1.2, the output showing over there, and with alpha is equal to 1.8 and lambda is equal to 0.35, and details of this we will discuss in the subsequent time. Output is showing. Therefore, it is showing that weighted least mean square gives better result than that of bilateral filter and Gaussian filter. So this weighted least square filter will be discussed detail over there. Now the edge preserving smoothing via weighted least square. In this section, we first describe an alternate edge preserving smoothing approach based on the weighted least square optimization framework. Then show how to construct multi-scale edge preserving decomposition that capture details at a variety of scales. Edge preserving smoothing may be viewed as a combination between two possibly contradictory goals, because we know we want to keep the edges, therefore we want edges, but there are lot of certain intensity changes that are not edges, that is for us some noise or artifacts. So whenever we want to preserve the edge, we have to discard some important smoothing, and when we want to smooth something, then some edges may be lost. So these are two contradictory things we have to take care of. So we cannot sharp very much as well as we cannot blur a lot. In between them, we have to make some trade-off. Given an input image G, we seek a new image U, which on the other hand is as close as possible as to G, and at the same time is as smooth as possible everywhere, except across significant gradient in G. So there is a gradient sensitivity as well as smoothness sensitivity. We have to take care of both of this. Finally, it may be expressed as the seeking of minimizing the object function, that is to summation mu p minus mu g whole square. So this is the final image that we will get from the gradient image, and the new image is mu plus lambda ax g mu del u del x whole square plus ay g del u del y whole square, where p denotes the spatial location of a pixel. So p here indicating the pixel position. So it will change from point to point depending on whether it is age or not, whether it is the spatial, whether there is a very slow changing pixel or very sharp changing pixels. The goal of the data term, so mu p minus gp shows the data term, and the lambda and the rest part, so lambda and this part showing the regularization term, the second term. So we have to regularize the second term in such a way as a whole the image, the new image gives an ideal one where there is a important structure of the image should be there, and removing the noise as well. So the terms strives to achieve smoothness by minimizing the partial derivatives of u. The smoothness requirement is enforced in a spatially varying manner via the smoothness weights ax and ay, which depends on g. Finally, lambda is responsible for balance between the two terms. Increasing the value of lambda result in progressive smoothness. So lambda is the smoothness parameter, and earlier we discussed there is another parameter alpha, that is gradient sensitive parameter, that gives there is a sudden change or not. So as we increase lambda, image will be smoother, and as we increase the alpha, the image will be sharper. But there is a cost. As we keep on increasing the sharpness, there will be noise amplification will be there. So using the matrix notation, we can rewrite this as equation 4. So finally, we get a vector u, the new image, in such a way we have to minimize equation 4, and finally the solution of this equation is given by I plus lambda Lg into mu is equal to g, where I is equal to identity matrix and Lg is equal to dx transpose ax dx plus dy transpose ay dy. Modulo the difference in the notation, this is exactly the linear system equation used in the paper we will discuss shortly, where it was primarily used to derive piecewise smooth adjustment maps from a sparse set of constraints. In our experiment, dx dy are forward differential operator and dxt dyt are the backward difference operator. So finally, L is equal to dxt dx plus dyt dy is the ordinary homogeneous Laplacian matrix. The frequency response of f lambda is given by Oppenheim and Schaeffer in 1989 paper. We will also discuss this one. So finally, the Fourier transform is equal to of this equation 8, we can get 1 divided by 1 plus alpha lambda omega square. But thus scaling by a factor of c we are getting. So if there is any constant term, it is better to take a constant term. So it will be, if the frequency changes, then it will change accordingly. So finally, if there is any constant factor, so Fourier transform will be accordingly change 1 divided by 1 plus a c square lambda omega square. Therefore, as the frequency increases, so the response of the Fourier will decrease. Therefore, the same conclusion may be reached for an image region of roughly constant slope where the ax and ay is constant. When there is no change in frequency, so there will be the frequency response will be corresponding slow. when there is a large change in frequency corresponding, the frequency response will be high. It should be noted that since the smoothness coefficient in equation 6 separate between gradients in x and y direction, the resulting operator is not rotationally invariant, which is a slight tendency to preserve axis aligned edges more than the diagonal ones. However, this did not result in any visible artifacts in our experiment. One must also keep in mind that the discrete representation of image on a regular grid is rotationally variant in itself. Thus, from the equation 10, it is clear. It is clear that lambda, it is in the denominator. So, as the value of lambda we are keep on increasing, there will be less response at the output, that is in the frequency domain. Therefore, as we keep on increasing the value of lambda, and if the frequency is not changing much, so output will be almost smoother. Whereas if the lambda is lower, the value of lambda it decreases, so the response will be high. So if we want to smooth the image, if you want to get the smoothing criteria, then lambda value should be high to make the output smoother, whereas lambda value should be high to get the sharp changes. So from this, our main interest was weighted least mean square output. So depending on the frequency as well as from the value of lambda, we can change the output accordingly. So when there is so what is the takeaway from here? We are getting when there is a sharp changes in the frequency, then that will be absorbed because omega value is in the denominator. So if there is a sharp changes, that will not affect much, whereas if there is a little bit of less changes in the frequency, that will be much more effect because smoother will be the image. So from there we are getting the weighted least mean square, giving the output, preserving age, at the same time output is giving the best result. And by this image, figure 4, we are getting the result. The input image showing over there, by giving the different value of the gradient sensitive parameter alpha and the smoothness sensitive parameter lambda, we are getting the output with different values. So sometimes the coarsening is there, sometimes the smoothing is there. So there should be some balance between coarsening and smoothing, depending on the value of alpha and lambda. Now there are more results are showing over there. Now we will look at the another paper that is discuss this parameter more in detail, that is interactive local adjustment of tonal values. Here these values of alpha and lambda discussed in detail. So see in the equation 1, there is a value of lambda, same value of lambda. So the what it is shown over there, we will discuss. The first term of this function is data term, responsible for satisfying the user specified non-overlapping constraints. The weighted function Wx indicates which pixels are constrained and specifies a weight between 0 to 1 for each constraint pixel. The target exposure values at the constraint pixel are given by Gx. Now the second term is smoothing term. Earlier also we discussed this. The second term is always the smoothing term, whose objective is to keep the gradient of the exposure function f as small as possible, except where the underlying image has significant gradient in its log luminance scale L. So this equation 2, the value of alpha, the exponent alpha, that is a very important thing. Earlier paper also we will discuss, go back to that immediately. The exponent alpha controls the sensitivity of the term to the derivatives of the log luminance image, and epsilon is a small constant to avoid division by 0. So the alpha is a exponent that controls the sensitivity of this second term. So we will go back to again this exponent alpha, how it is using over there. We will discuss here from here again. See here. Yes. Equation 6. L is a log luminance channel of the input image G. The exponent alpha typical value is 1 to 2.0 determines the sensitivity to the gradient G, while epsilon is a small constant, typically 0.0001, that prevents division by 0 in areas where G is constant. Means if there is a no change, so if the derivative of no change is equal to 0, but we don't want 0 because this 0 sometimes creates lot of problem. So to overcome this 0 issues, we are giving the that is a small value 0.001 always as a additive value to overcome the by 0 problem, division by 0 problem. So the alpha is an exponent, basically exponent, that is gradient sensitivity. This by gradient sensitivity means if there is a gradient, means if there is a sharp change in intensity, it takes care of that. By increasing this value, image becomes sharper, and by decreasing this value, image becomes blurred. So high value is needed, but if we give very high value, then some noise amplification will be there. Thus, from this weighted least mean square, we have to adjust this, the value of lambda and the value of alpha, in such a way we will get the edge preserving smoothing. So it is a compromise between blurring and sharpening. We just now expressed that too much of intensity of edges will amplify noise, so we cannot amplify the output in such a way that intensity is high as well as noise amplification is there. So we cannot get a 2.0 value. There should be some optimization between there. So it is by trial error you can do, but there is also some optimization technique how to control the value of alpha and lambda, because we are doing this mechanically by trial error. But there is also some preventive method we can do. We will discuss this detail in subsequent classes. So we are up to this. We are stopping over there.